My name is Insane Raven and I am back with another episode of IR Reviews. If you don't know what I'm doing here, every week I like to go see a movie and I like to review that movie. Sometimes I do it with Netflix shows and other times I do it with Hulu shows. But almost every week there is a movie version of the show. And this week I'm reviewing Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Men Tell No Tales. Now, for transparency's sake and to be completely honest, I'm gonna be upfront with you guys. I am biased as shit when it comes to the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. The original Pirates of the Caribbean movie was a big influence on my life, and it's part of the reason why I even started getting into the entertainment field to begin with. And to not include that in this video would almost be like lying to you guys in a way. So I want to get that clear out in the open as soon as possible. Second, I did see this movie with a bunch of friends, and we all kind of really enjoyed this movie. Each one of us enjoyed the movie for pretty much different reasons, and while I don't have everyone here to kind of like talk about the movie, I'm gonna try to consolidate as much as what everyone was saying as possible. But now that we got all that out of the way, let's actually review this movie. So Pirates of the Caribbean, number 5. The beef, I do have some beef with it, and I'll get into that in a minute. But the majority of the beef I have with it is stuff that's excusable, not something that should happen or that it's good, but excusable is the wrong word. Understandable. So let's go into that. First off, my biggest issue that I have with this movie is that in comparison to all the other movies, all 4 of the previous Pirates of the Caribbean movies, this one feels very phoned in. And it's not, there really isn't another way of saying it. Johnny Depp seems to be phoning in this performance as much as I've ever seen. While the plot of the movie tells us why Jack Sparrow is like this and kind of going through what he's going through to justify what's going on, it doesn't give Johnny Depp's performance any more gravitas or any more of a reason. It's like, hey, there's a reason, but the reason's bad. And to put in as one of my friends, as one of my friends who saw the movie with me said it, isn't that he's phoning it in, it's just that he's phoning it in. And I didn't really know how else to put it, but it seems exactly to be the issue that this movie has. One of the big issues that this movie has. Another big issue that I had with the movie is that the ending is really underwhelming. Well, I'm not going to go into details quite yet. I'll go into that later and spoil the territory later. The movie's ending just seems really underwhelming. There's a lot of other stuff that could have happened, could have kind of gone down to kind of spice it up and to give it more life, and it's upsetting to see that those opportunities weren't taken. But other than those few negative things, I really enjoyed this movie. The movie doesn't take itself too seriously at all, and if you did expect a Pirates of the Caribbean movie to take itself seriously, you are in the wrong theater. With the first big Jack Sparrow scene being a bank heist, well, 11 horses pull away an entire building, you automatically know the kind of movie you're being strapped in to watch. Just the absurdity of what was happening had me doubled over laughing at just the "are you seriousness" of what I was seeing on screen. And it wasn't the only moment that had me like, are you kidding me? Type things going on. the movie with all other Pirates of the Caribbean films has its in jokes, and while there are not as many in jokes, the ones that the bigger jokes that really stuck out to me personally as a longtime fan of the series were definitely the in jokes. You have the eunuch joke that comes back. You have the two bumbling idiot redcoats making their appearance once again, which was delightful. And you have a bunch of other little things like that that really kind of remind you that, oh yeah, this is Pirates of the Caribbean. And it was something that the fourth movie, On Stranger Tides, really was lacking. It was lacking that whole, no, this is Pirates of the Caribbean type feel. If that makes sense. Like I feel like it makes sense. Or as much sense as a Pirates of the Caribbean movie makes sense. But I'm not sure if it actually makes sense. Anyway, back to another critique that I can't believe I forgot until just now. The movie goes over a lot of information really quickly, to the point where you don't have enough time to kind of digest it and understand everything that's being thrown at you. There are a couple of characters that are introduced really quickly and then make their exits just as quickly. Not to the point of you question, you want to see more of this character, but you question why they were even in the film to begin with. And that's not a good thing. There are other key important pieces of information that the movie just kind of is like, oh yeah, then that's a thing, but don't worry about that because it's a thing and we told you about it, so it's a thing, bye, okay, next. And it just, well, yes, all the information is there, it creates a lot of these holes within the movie that if you're trying to actually follow what the hell is going on, you're gonna be left scratching your head more than once. And again, I am in love with these movies, and I'm saying that. So you know it's not exactly the movie's strongest suits. But back to the positive that I was covering over. And sorry if I seem scatterbrained, I am recording this at like midnight. The in-jokes are on point. The characters that they bring back are, it feels like almost a homecoming reunion, to the point where I wish I would have got to spend some more time with those specific characters, but the time I did spend it with them seemed about right. While Orlando Bloom, I wish they would have used more and used more creatively. All the same thing with Keira Knightley's character of Elizabeth Swann. All the other characters feels right. They're on to the movie to the point where it feels like a rehashing of the first movie, even though it takes a lot of important key moments from that movie. It gives it enough diversity between the new characters and returning characters where it's like, okay, I have that touch of familiarity and I can continue. The other thing that this movie does really well, and I'm talking really well, is with the final climactic fight. And I'm not counting the fight where the Salazar actually dies. I'm counting the fight where it's a actual sword fight. Before that, slight spoilers, I guess. The scenery and is beautiful, and that's the one thing really about this movie. It is a beautifully made movie. There are a number of moments where you're kind of just looking at the spectacle and you're looking at the CGI, and it's like, I know this is CGI, I get that it's CGI, doesn't make it any less cool. A couple moments from the trailers that really stuck out to me were the sharks, the undead sharks that you got to see moving on. Seeing those fuckers move and actually attack within the movie is horrifying, and it is pretty fucking cool to look at. that's the other thing I really enjoyed about this movie, is that it brought back the horror aspect of Pirates of the Caribbean. You had Curse of the Black Pearl, which was a very dark movie for Disney at the time, and it was this really, almost kind of like, the first time you watched it was like, oh, that's spooky type feel, and this movie really brought that back, and I really enjoyed that, especially when you have Salazar's reveal. They hide a good part of his face for most of his introduction, until they finally do the entire face, and it's done in this way which, like, I'm actually terrified of this person, and it's one of those things that I really appreciate, and I didn't realize how much I missed until, like, I missed that aspect of being scared of the supernatural since the first movie, that I didn't realize I missed so much in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie until Salazar showed up.
The UNSA forces need reinforcement. Weapons hot.
The movie is a really fun movie to turn your brain off and just watch. And just be a part of the spectacle, and to be a part of the Pirates of the Caribbean craze, which is a sentence I would have never thought I'd actually be saying. It is a really fun movie, and it is definitely the movie that, upon watching this midnight version of the movie, this midnight release, I see a lot of midnight movies because I try to review as many movies as soon as possible for you guys, and this was the first movie I think I've seen this year where there was more than just me and another person in the viewing, and I think that really kind of shows that not only are we in the summer movie schedule, but it shows how powerful Pirates of the Caribbean is as a series, and it's just one of those things that I really enjoy. I enjoy watching and being a part of. Other things that I really enjoyed being a part of when it came to this movie was the lineage. Like I said earlier, there are a lot of inside jokes in it, and you get that feeling of, oh, wow, it's been so long since the first movie. I can't believe it's been so long since that first movie, and I can't believe I've seen all of them, and oh, that was such a funny thing, and then there's that, and there's that, and oh, it's so amazing, and blah 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 blah. I really enjoyed that kind of feel that it had. But that's gonna be it for the spoiler-free portion of this review. Now, if you're gonna go see this movie, which I highly recommend you do, just be a part of the fun and be a part of the Disney of it all. This is your time to leave. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Come back after you've seen the movie and tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. But for those of you who have already seen the movie or don't care for it to be spoiled, let's go into the spoiler territory. And my biggest beef I have with this movie is the whole idea that everyone in this movie has to be related or in contact with one of the previous characters. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand why that was used. It's a good trope to make us feel like these new characters that we are being introduced are important, and I understand that. But it is such an overused and tired trope that I was kind of disappointed to see it come up in this movie. And we get the reveal that Smith, the horologist, well, not really being, I don't know her first name. I can't pronounce her first name. Her name is Smith something Smith. She is Barbossa's child. She is Barbossa's hidden kid that we've never known about and all this crap. And she is brilliant, intellectually speaking. And just having that, and having her was a really fun character. She's a fun character that you really don't end up caring much about, just because it is a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and you know that there really isn't any danger and everything's just spectacle type deal. But I found myself more annoyed with the fact that she was Barbossa's kid rather than being her own character. I wanted her to kind of stand out on her own because we already had the lineage character in Henry, who starts out straight from the gate as being Turner's kid, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, but the fact that we already had this character so blatantly in your face with being Henry Turner, with him being called Turner multiple times in the first 5 minutes of the film, just to see that we had not one but two of these lineage characters in the film kind of bummed me out. And it bummed me out that they weren't expanding their kind of world. And I don't remember who said it amongst our little group of people who saw the movie, but it seems to be that Disney's very much on this Star Wars kick, where only Turners or Barbossas or Sparrows are important in this world, and everyone else is kind of just like, and we're here too type thing. And it's disappointing how right that they were. And I was hoping that my Pirates of the Caribbean would have been spared from that, but alas, 'tis not the case. Other thing I found really disappointing, which I've kind of already talked about, but I want to go into more detail now that I can, is the climactic battle between all of our characters and Salazar, because we're given this amazing, like, kind of creepy character in Salazar, and his curse is removed by Poseidon's Trident, or Trident's Trident, or whatever. And there's this really cool moment where it's like, oh, okay, he's human, we can fight him again. But before that, we have this really awesome fighting action sequence. And then the final sequence we have, Barbossa sacrifices himself to save his daughter. And it's this really kind of touching moment of, oh, Barbossa's dead. They aren't making another one of these type things, and you kind of have to sit there and understand this moment of Jack gives him this sword, and he grabs the sword and he falls down on this anchor chain that they're all hanging off of so they don't die, because water's being coming back in and to crush everyone. It's this moment from the trailer, and it's kind of tense, but not really. And you see Captain Barbossa fall, and he stabs Salazar in the back. And there's this literal stabbing of the back in a movie that's been filled of double crossings and almost espionage tactics, which is weird to say in a pirates film. But it kind of had that feel of you don't know who's going to betray who. And that's one of the things that I really enjoyed out of the movie. But you have this literal stabbing of the back, and then Barbossa just falls. And he falls into the deep, and he dies. And while it is this sweet moment of he's passing the torch, and he's giving it to his kid so that his kid can live, it didn't feel like... It felt like a whimper of a way to have such a legend of Captain Barbossa, the scourge of the sea, the man who was so evil hell itself spat him back out, captain of the Black Pearl, captain of the Queen Anne's Revenge, die. And it's kind of just disappointing how he goes, and it's disappointing that Salazar falls from the chain, and it was a nice touch that he hits his head and, like I said, it kind of gets crushed by
Directives, straight from the top.
the anchor head, and he just goes away. And it's kind of just like, oh, it kind of feels like they had this bigger sword fight plans, and then they realized how long their movie had become, and they were like, we gotta cut this off now. And so they do, and it's just disappointing. That's my other big thing I have with this movie, is that while yes, there's a lot of character development, and there's a lot of beautiful set pieces, and there's a lot of cool little moments for the fans. There's only one real sword fight, and while sword fights have never really been Pirates of the Caribbean's like creme de la creme, it was disappointing that we didn't get a really good sword fight in this last movie. When I think of the best sword fights from the series, I think of Davy Jones versus Jack on the Mask of the Flying Dutchman in At World's End. Barbossa versus Jack in the Isle de Motros in Curse of the Black Pearl. Jack versus Turner in the Sword Shop. All these really cool sword fighting sequences, and we didn't get one of those in this finale, and it's really disappointing. The closest thing we get to a sword fight is Jack just running away. And while you can make the argument that it fits thematically with the movie that like Jack's lost his luck and his mojo, and that's really what made him the pirate he is, it doesn't excuse the fact that no one in this film puts up a good sword fight. And it's just disappointing that there wasn't one. How even On Change of Tides had that pretty cool sword fight in the Fountain of Youth and against Angelica in the Drunken Mermaid or the Drunken Tavern or whatever it was called. But even On Chains of Tide had at least 2 decent sword fights, and it's just disappointing that we didn't get that in this. But I don't have anything else to add. My name is Manton Raven. If you guys saw the movie or are going to see this movie over the weekend and you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section down below. And let's start a conversation. Let me know why you thought this movie was perfect, why you thought it was trash, why it was complete trash, and I should stop doing movie reviews because I obviously don't know what I'm talking about or anything like that in the comment section down below. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.